Hey everyone, I'd like to read a dream to you that I wrote down back in 2023, and I believe this may be from God. The dream started with the first scene with kids fighting in a karate studio. I think it was some kind of tournament. A much bigger kid was put up against smaller kids. He was much larger and stronger. He was winning easily, and it was brutal. It seemed strange the adults were okay with it, and no one stopped it. The second part of the dream, I was at a table in a restaurant with guys who were in their early 20s. They were all laughing and saying dirty jokes and making crude gestures to each other. I'm not sure the significance of this part. The third part of the dream, I was with my wife and her mother. We were cooking dinner in a house. It wasn't our house, though, and at the time of the dream she lived with us, but in 2024 she moved to her own place and we cooked for the feast days there. I'm not sure if those two are correlated. Those two events are correlated. And then the fourth scene. I was at a football stadium and there was a football game going on. The stadium was loud and full of people. For some reason I was on the outside of the stadium wall, looking in from the top of it. I could see all the people in the stands. Suddenly I heard a shofar. Everyone in the stadium heard it, but most people didn't know what the sound was. Newscasters mentioned the sound on TV and questioned what it was. Then, I don't know why, but I looked towards the sun, which looked really big and was maybe at the 5 p.m. position in the sky. And in the direction of the sun, I saw a silhouette of a man riding a horse rip into our reality from somewhere else. He rode in quickly, with purpose, and things suddenly felt very serious. Other people on horses were behind him, coming into our reality too. I could hear people everywhere saying, "It's Jesus." I could also hear some people were absolutely terrified of him. Everyone knew exactly who he was. I quickly climbed down from the stadium wall and felt an intense joy. Me and everyone on the outside of the stadium walls were extremely happy. We started cheering on Jesus and were jumping up and down. I felt like I was feeling joy in more than just my body. I ran around the stadium to the back of it to try to keep Jesus in my sight. Then we all stopped running, and we knelt down and started saying, "King of Kings, Lords of Lords," over and over. This all felt natural, like my body just did it by itself. It didn't feel forced. It was like I was born for this or something. Then I got up and continued to run to the other side of the stadium, still feeling that joy, and then I saw a man to my left stop running. I stopped to look at him, and saw thousands of small golden, sparkly-looking lights come out of him from the inside. The lights surrounded the top half of his body, in the shape of a sphere. Then he started to float into the sky. I was wondering if I was next. Then the same thing started happening to me. I couldn't feel the lights, but I could see them. They formed a sphere around me, and I started to float up. For some reason, I knew my wife was on the outside of the stadium too, but on the other side. I didn't know exactly where she was, but I was hoping she would hear me, and I started encouraging her to follow us. When I reached the height of the stadium wall, I woke up. One thing I noticed was that no one inside the stadium went up. Only those of us on the outside of the stadium, and there weren't many of us in comparison to the vast number of people inside the stadium.